I've just started the recording. I guess if you could all, first of all, I guess if you've got your mic on, if you could mute yourself so there's no background noise. And then if you wouldn't mind putting your swimmer's name in the chat so that I can take attendance and give everyone credit for attending this meeting. Once again, I apologize for the delay. I had a little technical issue here, but we're rolling now. Um, so I'm going to share the screen with you and then be sharing some items throughout the course of this meeting. So let me bring up our website. All right, so you may be familiar with our website, and a lot of what I'm going to talk about is in here. Just a couple of things. We had I sent out an email with some documents. I did also send out a meeting. There's also now a meeting outline posted. You can either follow along on that, or at least you could refer to it later on if you want to go over or see what I was talking about or what got said. Start with a little bit about the team, the board, or the team structure. So this is our just a kind of a handout to explain how the team is put together. Just a little bit. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We are governed by a parent board of directors. They're elected every year. We elect 6, and there's 12 of them. There's 4 full-time coaches, and then 4 part-time adults, and then a lot of part-time high school assistants. Certainly, currently working with the team. Just something about the coaches. They're all USA certified. They've got safety training in their lifeguards, CPR. They take some athlete protection training. Their background checked, and there's other coach education requirements just to get certified by USA Swimming. And then as a staff, we are always trying to increase our education, follow along with what's going on, going to clinics or discussing new training or swimming techniques in the office at our staff meetings. We consider ourselves a very professional coaches, and I think you can feel that your kids are safe while they're here under our leadership. A little bit about the way the team is put together. We really have 3 main areas. We've got the novice area, and a lot of you may have come through that. That's on the right hand here. Really, you're not a USA Swimming member yet. You're just learning the skills and getting ready to join the swim team. Then we have the age group program. That's most of what I'm talking to, I think, is probably in the age group program. And that goes from Super 8s, which are 8 and unders that can swim all 4 strokes, up to our juniors. Generally, the age of our age group swimmers are somewhere between 7 and 12. We usually have a few, sometimes a few 13-year-olds that just aren't quite ready for the senior groups yet. And then we have what we call our senior group, and that's really middle school and older kids, or 13 and older kids, generally. And those are divided again into groups. And all these groups have some progression, both in commitment, the amount of time that they train, and the skill levels that each of them have. So your child will be hopefully moving through these groups if they continue on with the team. We divide our year into 2 seasons. We do what's called a short course season. That goes from September, and then it goes to February or March, depending on how far your child advances in championship meets at the end. And the short course season is called that because most of the competitions and the championship meets are done in the 25-yard pool, which is what we have at Arrowhead, and at Hartford. The high school pools are 25-yard pools. Then we start up again in April and go through July into August again, depending on how far the child advances in the championship series. And that's called long course because the swimming is generally done in what's called a long course pool. And that's a 50-meter pool. We have access to one of those in Hartford, and then we compete in some 50-meter pools around the state. Still, some of our training is done in short course over that season, but our championship meets and most of our meets are long course during that season. So you're here involved in the short course season. And even though the schedule that's posted only goes through early November, this season that you are part of goes all the way through February. For most of you, it'll be February. A few will stretch into March. And then the other thing I like to include on this, and I'll go into more detail on this, but just a couple separate family service requirements that we have. And the main reason we have this in here is it's important to understand that these two programs, the seasonal service program and the meat service program, are completely separate, and you have requirements in both of those programs. Now, the seasonal service program is run such that there is a deposit taken at the beginning of the season. If you're in age group silver or lower group, it's a $50 deposit. And if you earn 15 points, you'll meet your seasonal requirement. And I'll show how to do that a little bit later. And then you'll get your $50 credited back to your account. If you're in age group gold or higher, then the deposit was $100 and you'll need to earn 45 points in service. And like I said, I'll show you what that program looks like in a little more detail later on. The meat service program is specifically related to the meets that we host. And it's a big part of our program to host meets. It's an important financial component. It provides a lot of revenue, and then we also are providing great competition opportunities for both our kids and swimmers around the state. And we need a lot of help to be able to pull those off throughout the course of the year. So that's that document, and just a little bit about the generally about the team. Next, I'll go into some talk about the parent and family responsibilities, and I think I will click out of this, get back to the website here. And so the biggest responsibility, the first responsibility is just getting your kids to meets and practices. Obviously paying your bills as those come up on a monthly basis. And then we really need your support as far as with what you're doing with your athlete, both on what our staff objectives are, our coaching philosophy is, and how we're working with your kids. And if you ever have any questions about that, you should definitely talk to your swimmer's coach. And if you don't get a satisfactory answer from them and you have more questions, I am always available. And maybe I neglected to introduce myself at the start of this. I am Mark Cohnhorst. I am the head coach and the executive director of Lake Country Swim Team. Going to move to this parent info page here, a new parent page. This is kind of, as far as the way we communicate with the team, we use email a lot, and a lot of information is posted on our website. I would just, as far as the email goes, we on a weekly basis, you'll get an e-splash. That usually is kind of a summary of all the activities and all the deadlines that are coming up. You should definitely make a habit of reading through that every Thursday. If you keep up on that, you'll be in pretty good shape. You'll also get some other emails throughout the season. Sometimes it'll seem like an awful lot of them, and we apologize for that. But we really feel that communication is important. And if you want to get the most out of the program, you should read as many of those as you can. We try to send only relevant emails to your group, but sometimes you'll get something that might not be quite as relevant as you think. But please read all of those. And if you ever have a question about an email that you receive, if you just hit reply, whoever sent that email will be able to answer that. Or again, you can always contact me via email or phone, and I can answer any questions regarding that. I'll give you a little bit more of a tour of a website later on. The other thing is the office here is staffed pretty regularly by myself. So starting about 8:30 in the morning, you can reach me until about 2 or 2:30 in the afternoon at the office phone number. And the coaches are certainly willing to meet with you, myself or any of the other coaches, anytime that you have any questions. I guess if you do have a fair amount that you want to talk to a coach about, please try to schedule a meeting rather than just catch them, between practices or while they're trying to work with the kids. Um, but then the other resource we have is we do have, let's see, I'm going to go to this. Uh, we do have some parents assigned to each group, and I know at least two of them are here right now, and I'll introduce to them. The senior and juniors group right now are all done by Kimberly Cups. Uh, Brian handles the age group at Arrowhead here, Brian Newman. And Brian, you just want to click on their wave. That's Brian. You'll see him around the pool, and you'll probably get an outreach email or phone call from him sometime after this meeting as well. And then Dave Leiter is the Hartford area rep. And Dave, you want to just wave so they know who you are there? Yeah, that's Dave. And again, he's around the pool quite a bit. And then their contact information is here, and he'll probably be reaching out to some of the Hartford. Also on here, volunteer questions, billing and policy questions. That's my email address and the office phone number. Contact me again if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer them. And I really, after a meeting like this, I expect to have several. And please don't be afraid to bombard me a little bit. I have all the answers, so to speak. There's a list of frequently asked questions on this page. I guess I encourage you to look through those, and then there are some nice parenting articles linked on the bottom that are worth looking at as well at some point. So that's a little bit about some of the resources you have to kind of keep up with what's going on. Next thing I'd like to talk about is the equipment and the apparel. So I'm going to go to those list of documents again. And we have a little document here about LCST team equipment. So you paid a $70 club membership when you join the team. That basically pays for a swimsuit and a team cap. And for Hartford, there'll be a fitting tomorrow, 4:45 till I believe it's going to be 6:15. So there'll be suits there available for you to try on, so you know what size to order. Arrowhead, they've been here all week, and they'll be here still tomorrow night in the pool office. And if you don't know what size to order, you should come on in. You can also go to Oconomowoc. The A3 store is located there, and try things on there at any time. But you should get those things ordered by September 24th. That's this Sunday. That'll ensure that you'll get them. Now you also have an option to order a couple other items as far as apparel goes. If you'd like your swimmer to have a personalized cap with the name on the side, you can order that on that website. And I'll give you a quick look at that website in a minute. And then if you want to, the parkas are also being ordered as well. You may have seen some kids, but a lot of the kids will wear parkas. It's a good way to stay warm at a meet during practice, or I mean at a meet when you're not swimming. And it's a team branded parka. But to be able to place those orders, you'll just go down to the bottom of our website on the home page. Get there for you. And there's an A3 Performance logo, and that takes you to the store. And pretty much most of what you'll need is here. This is where you would order your registered team suit. Anybody who's paid the club membership gets a team suit. Fill it out here. Choose your suit style and then your size, and they'll confirm with me that you're on the team, and then the suits will be delivered. Usually it'll take a couple of weeks for those to be done. This is also where you can order that team cap with your name on the side and the parka. And then a lot of the training equipment that we require, the fins, the snorkels, some of the paddles and kickboards are all available here for order as well. You can also buy those somewhere else if you'd like. Swim Outlet's not a bad place online. They have quite a big inventory, and the prices are pretty good there as well. But the team suits and the team apparel you'll only be able to get here. Just a little bit of else here about as far as parent and family responsibilities. I'll talk a little bit about getting an ad. Let me go back to home. Just the your account and how to manage that, and a few of the things from the financial standpoint. This is my family account when we used to have a swimmer on the team, very similar to what you'll see here. Your account information is in that my account section. Keep that up to date. Things like t-shirt sizes are important because we occasionally buy t-shirts and we baste it. I also recommend that you they ask you to verify your email address. That's helpful. And then if you go through the verification on the mobile SMS, sometimes some of our last minute changes will be communicated via text as well. Just some other things in this area. The members is where your kids are placed. Make sure their information is correct in there. You can always look at a billing summary. This is where I was practicing registration with Sample Swimmer Conehorst. So that's kind of what that looks like. You can always check that. Fundraising, we don't have anything under. And then the payment setup. You can pay by check on a monthly basis if you'd like to. You can also put a credit card on here. Just click add credit card and follow the process. And then on the first of every month, whatever charges are on your account will be immediately charged to that credit card. Starting this season, credit card purchases on our website have a 3% service charge. But the other option that has no service charge would be to add your bank account, and then we would do an ACH withdrawal. And again, that would be shortly after the first of the month, and we'd be drawing directly from your bank account. But there's no charge for that service. No service charge for that at all. Let's see once. All right. So I encourage you to, we prefer if you do these two things, it's a little easier for both you and us to keep up with the financial side of it. There will be every month an invoice will go out, and there will be some charges on that, and I'll explain what some of those are here in just a second. So that's about it for your account section. I'm going to go back to the home page if I can. There we go. There we go. Back to the home page. Some of the things that there is a charge for. Let's see, I'm getting text. I've got a problem here. Oh, I'm sorry. You'll be the annual club membership you already paid. You'll have to register for USA Swimming. If you haven't done that yet, I'll be sending another email out with instructions on that. I did send one a couple weeks ago, but I think another one is due because some people have registered since then. But that USA membership has to be done on the USA Swimming website, and that's an annual membership. It goes from now through the end of 2024. That's an $88 fee. It doesn't go to us, it'll go to USA Swimming. The training fees, a lot of you paid either all of that or part of that at the beginning of the season. The seasonal deposit. Every meet you go to, there'll be some entry fees related to that. There's usually there's a Wisconsin LSC surcharge, and then usually there's a facilities charge, and then there are actual for each individual and relay event you get charged as well. And then any other products or any other thing that you might buy from the team throughout the season, all of those things will be put onto your account. And then again, on the first of the month, if you have a credit card or an ACH on there, you'll get billed. If you don't, you'll get an invoice. And then you can either send a check in, or you can bring the check into the coaches into the office and drop those off, and I'll process those here. I think I'll go into the service or the meet service or the service requirements a little bit now. Let me get to that document. Again here. So seasonal service. Now you will get 15 seasonal service points for attending this meeting, assuming that you put your information in the chat. And for most of you, age group bronze, super 8, or age group silver members, that'll satisfy your seasonal service requirement for this season, which means then next season, when you pay that deposit, you will have to do some service or make some donations or both to reach the required point value, either 15 or 45. Some families don't bother. We'd love to have the help, but if the deposit gets left behind, then that just goes into our general fund. So there's an explanation of it here, pretty detailed with, again, some frequently asked questions you can look through. I'm not going to go through all of it right now, but I will show you on the website where you would go to. That's going to take me just a second. Where you would go to sign up for and get and earn your points. So one area of the website that you'll be using pretty frequently, and I'll be showing you quite a bit throughout tonight, is this team events area. And here it lists all of the team events and things that you can sign up for. As you can see, the top one is seasonal service opportunities for the fall winter 2023-24. And it's just the draft version right now. We haven't updated everything, but I wanted you to at least see what that looked like. So if you needed to provide some service or donation to get your seasonal service deposit back, you would go here and you would just click on the box, and it's going to take you to what we call an event page. And here again, there's an explanation of the short explanation of the program. There's a link to the frequently asked questions, etc. And then I keep an updated spreadsheet throughout the season so you can see what your status is. But if you're looking to find something to do, you hit the job sign up button here at the top, and that's going to open up all of the seasonal service opportunities for this season. And just as an example, one of them is as simple as donating candy canes for the conference championship meet around Christmas. There are some Halloween party donations and helper spots as well. So you would just come in here and you can see like a Halloween party helper is 15, and you would just click that and hit, where am I at here? Oh, sorry, job deadline is passed. There'll be a submit button up here, and I'll show you that on another one. And then your name would go into there. And then we monitor what goes on here, and we check to make sure that you fulfill that job that you agreed to. And then you'll be awarded those points, and the credit will come back. Again, for most of you, you don't have to worry about that this season, but I think it's important for you to know that. So that is the seasonal service. Now, one other thing we occasionally offer for seasonal service is occasionally we need extra help at a meet. So sometimes you can earn your seasonal service points simply by helping out at a meet or providing an extra worker at a meet. And we try to provide other opportunities throughout the season for you to meet that requirement. I'm going to go now to talking about our meet service. Let me get back to, here we go, here. And that requirement. Here's a little sheet about working at hosted swim meets, and it explains a little bit about it. And then in this case, it has a detail of what meets we're hosting this season. Now, just to understand, I said this was an important part of our revenue. We probably, I'd say it's between 25 and 30 to 35% of our revenue for each year comes from hosting these meets. And that money, of course, goes to benefit everyone on the program. So we really need some help from everyone to be able to generate that revenue and hold your fees down so that you can we can keep the program affordable, and then at the same time host those meets. So we've got different meet requirement levels. We have something we call a mandatory full team service meet. And that is a very large meet, and it's over a few days, and it's at Walter Schrader Aquatic Center in Brown Deer. And that's typically where we host those meets. It's about a 35 to 40-minute drive from this area, maybe a little more, but it's in that area. It's in Brown Deer. We have two meets this year where we are going to require every family to provide some number of workers. One of them is the Western Great Lakes Open Meet in November, the weekend of the 17th, 18th, and 19th. And then the other one is the Wisconsin Senior State Championship Meet, and that's in February the 23rd through the 25th. So you'll get information about those meets several weeks before as far as getting signed up. And then you'll need to sign up to work those meets for the number of required sessions. Typically for these two meets, the glow meet is typically a 2-session requirement. And I'll get a little bit more into that in a minute. And then the state meet last year was a 3-session requirement. So there are 5 basically 4-hour shifts that we're going to ask you to help us out by working at throughout the course of the year. Whether or not your child participates in this meet, we will still be asking you, your family, to provide some workers for it. The next level is a mandatory participant service meet. And I've got 3 of them listed here. Fall senior meet, that's coming up on October 6th. Fall single age meet on October 7th. And then we have another meet that happens to be at Brown Deer, February 10th and 11th, called the February Freeze. Now, if your swimmer does not participate in these meets, then you do not have to provide a worker. If you have a swimmer participating in a meet, you need to provide a worker for every session in which you have a swimmer in the meet. So for example, if you sign your swimmer up for the fall single age meet, or let's say you have 2 swimmers, and one is older, 13 or over, and one is 12 or under, then you'll have one of them in the morning session and one of them in the afternoon session, and you'll have to provide a worker for each one of those sessions. Those meets, like I said, generally are here at Arrowhead. We do have that one in Brown Deer. But again, your kids are swimming it, so you're probably here already. And I'll talk more about the jobs in a minute, but all the jobs allow you to still watch your swimmer compete in the meet and still attend to their needs throughout the course of the meet. If not on a fully, but at least on a limited basis, you can be there to help them. And then we have some meets that are completely volunteer. We don't require, but we can't run them if people don't show up and work. Those are our Phoenix Conference meets. Some of you have been a part of those already if you were in our ribbon program either last spring or last fall. And those we just ask for volunteers out of the stands if we don't fill all the spots on that. And then we do some occasional time trials or other meets like that. And again, this is usually it would only be if your child is in it. And if you're not available, there's no penalty or buyout or anything like that. Speaking of penalties or buyouts, if you want your child to swim in one of these meets, for example, but you aren't available, you can take the buyout option. For these smaller meets, that's usually $35 or $40 fee. And then if you can't make one of these larger, these mandatory meets, you can also buy out of those, but there it's generally $100 per session. So it's a little pricier. We do need the people more than we need the money. So we hope that you can work. And we do, just so you know, we do work with you to help you fulfill those requirements. We do have some flexibility. We do have some pre-meet jobs that aren't necessarily on that weekend. And we do, occasionally we'll allow you to work another session at another meet to replace one at one meet. But there's a bare minimum that we need to run any of these meets. So we're really looking for everyone's help on those. This document shows how to sign up to volunteer. I will demonstrate that, but it'll be here for you to look at for you to refer to when you do get around to signing up to work at a meet. So speaking of meets, I guess the next thing I would be going into then would be meet participation. I'll put up a little meet entry and tips thing, and then I will demonstrate how you will enter your swimmer in a meet and how you will sign up for a meet to work a meet as well. Let me turn off this seasonal service quickly or hide it. Save. Close. And then open.
We have to sign our children up to compete in the meets. That's not just done by the coach.
No, I'll go through that. Yes, you will. Just a second, I'll show you how to do it. Now you'll get help from the coach, no doubt about it. I'm just getting things set up for us. Okay, so first I'll have you take a look at the meet schedule. That's on our. I'll get back to that. That's on our current season and info page. It's a grid. It helps you plan for the season. It has the list of the meets down the side. It has the practice groups across the top. And then you just look to see if there's an X in there. It means that's a meet that is appropriate for your swimmer and we'd like to have them in it. If it's grayed out, that means it's not appropriate and they can't participate in that meet. And then sometimes there'll be something, written in here like Friday and Sunday only for these 4 groups, or, all qualifiers. Some of the meets require qualification. So you can kind of get an idea and plan for the season what meets will be coming up, and maybe try to keep some of those open so your child can participate in them. Now, we call any meet with an X a must meet, but again, families have a lot of conflicting commitments, and we don't expect your swimmer to be in every meet, and it may not even be in their best interest for them to be in every single meet. But as many as possible is recommended. It's a big part of their development, is learning to swim in those meets. So this is just kind of a general view of the whole season. Now, as the meets come around,
How long do they last?
I'll just, can you just hold your questions and I'll kind of cover almost everything you're wanting to know. So the way the meets will work here is, as far as signing up for them, is you'll get an email from the team, and you would have gotten some yesterday if you're fully registered. You would have gotten some yesterday that announced that the meet is now available for sign up. And I told you that one of the let's see, back to home. One of the areas of the website you'll use often is going to be this current events and meet sign up. I'm going to go back to that. So yesterday we opened up this Lake Falls single age meet. And that's a meet that's very appropriate for every swimmer I'm talking to right now. So you'll get an email announcing that that's open. And that email will have it'll say, you'll have 2 options there. It'll be go to sign up for the meet or more information. Please go to more information so you know exactly what's going on with that meet. So this is the fall single age meet. I'm going to click on that and you get to an event page, which is very similar to what you saw before. Has some details about the meet, the date. The sign-up deadline is the 28th. Just some general information about the events and things like that. And then the description here, what it is, when it is, where it is. And then there'll always be a meet information link. This is really important for you to click on that link and look at that information. It's the document that comes from the host team, which in this case is our team. It's the document that comes from the host team that explains all the details about the meet. So I'll click on that. and it takes you to this. It's a PDF document. Again, date, place, warm up, pool, timing system, some stuff about the rules, some important things there. It'll also have what the entry fees are. So for example, in this meet, the entry fees are $5 per event and then $12 per relay. And then there are there's a $4 surcharge that goes to the Wisconsin Swimming Organization that we're a part of. Then a little bit about admissions, awards, scoring, things like that. And then there'll always be a section with the event listing. And here you see that generally odd events are girls' events, even event are boys' events. And then the description will have the age, the distance, and the stroke. So for example, event number 3 here is the 13 and over 100-yard butterfly. The girls' event number is 3 and the boys' event number is 4. So there's a group of events, and then this is the morning session, and typically the sessions are divided by age. So this happens to be all 11 and over swimmers at this session. And then the afternoon session is all 10 and under swimmers with events appropriate for them, both distance and age. So read through all this. Let's say you've done that. You're available on the 7th. Your child, you feel they're ready to swim in the meet. So then you would go back to, and I'm just going to hit the back button here, back to the event page that you were on. And this is also a meet that we host. So there's a worker requirement. And the worker sign up is going to open up at 9 p.m. on Tuesday, September 26th. We do this we always have an opening time for a worker sign up because there are preferred jobs and preferred shifts. And that way everyone knows when it's going to open. And if you want to be first in line, you can make sure that you are. But at any rate, you've decided that your child can swim, and you can see there's an attend decline button up here at the bottom. Hit that, and you're going to get a list of the members in your family that are available to put in this meet. And I have this sample swimmer, Cohnhorst. I'm going to click on that name, and then I get another screen, and there's a pull down menu here. And here you can either declare yes or no. And we do like, if you're not going to swim in a meet, we do prefer that you click in the no, just so we know that you've looked at it, you're aware of it, and you've chosen not to swim in it. But in this case, we've chosen to enter this meet. So you hit yes, and as soon as you do that, all the events that are available for your swimmer to enter in show up on the screen down here. Now, as a beginning parent, you probably have no idea what your swimmer is ready for at all, and that's perfectly appropriate. So what most people do when they get started is in the notes section here, and this note section is read by the coaches. If you just put CC, that stands for coach's choice. And that means when the coach sees that you say, I am available for this meet, and you haven't chosen any events and you have a coach's choice in there, then they will choose the events that are appropriate for your swimmer. You can also put other notes in here, like, have to leave at 11 a.m. for a soccer game. All right, that's good. Then the coach can also base some of those decisions on that information or any other information that you think is important for the coach to know about your swimmer. Now, at some point, you will not do CC, and then all you would do in that case, if you were going to choose the events, is click on them. Click on them. Now, this is the entry time. The entry time is always your swimmer's fastest time. Sample swimmer has never swum in a meet, and a lot of yours may not have as well, and that means then it's a no time. And that helps them organize the meet so that your swimmer is swimming against kids of a similar experience level in that event. So at any rate, let's say I've decided to enter these 3 events. And I don't know if I can get down to the bottom of this. Oh, there. Then down on the bottom here, if you can see it, save changes. You just click that in, and now it says that you are committed. So then the coach will go through shortly before right after the meet deadline for all of the families, and they'll go through and they will approve all of these entries. At that point, then that committed button, that committed will show approved. All right, but you also notice, remember, this was also a meet where you have to work. So I'm going to go back to the event. Here we go. Oh, there it is. And then you see there's another button up here that's job sign up. You click on that job sign up, and here are the list of all the jobs that we need filled for that meet. These are the Saturday morning jobs, and then down here are the Saturday afternoon jobs. So make sure that when you're choosing a job to work, you are choosing the correct session for your swimmer. So my swimmer, I believe, was 11 and over. So I would be looking in this area. Most jobs are you get trained on the spot. Timers is a very popular one, and we need a lot of those. There are a few jobs that require training. Like, for example, the SST operator is the electronic timing system. And we have trained people, and then we do love to train people as well. So if you wanted to learn how to do that, you would select a trainee position. All right. If, like I said, if you needed to buy out because you can't attend it, there's a place here for you to click that as well. All right. Looks like Ted Krieger is already timing in the afternoon. All right. And then again, once you click that in, I'll just do concessions here. And then here's where you put the sign up. There's optional contact info. You don't need to put that in there, but if you want to write, for example, if your account is under your spouse's name, but you're actually working, you can put that in there. I'm going to say sign up. You can also remove the sign up if you change your mind or you something comes up, and then you just click that and the sign up is gone. So that's the sign up for the meet and the worker side of it. Now save changes. Now I'll talk about attending a meet and what the meets are look like. So everyone the way it works is all of our team members will click into their event selections. Those of you who are signing up now, I'm going to remove you because you're ahead of the September 26th deadline. I just opened it up so I could show you. And then you'll have to come back on September 26th and sign up. So I see some of you are signing up now, but I will be removing you after this meeting. But I'm going to get back to, let's see, our home page. Well, here we go. Let's just do it that way. Back to that document we had about meets, meet entry and tips. So I went through a little bit on the meet schedule and the fees, the online meet. These are some meet details. So we'll send all of the team's entry in to the meet host. The meet host will get all of the entries from all of the teams. They'll put that into their meet management program, and then they'll have a good idea how big the meet will be, what the timeline will be exactly, and then they'll send that information back to us. A few days before the meet, usually it's the Thursday before the E-Splash, or the Thursday that we send the E-Splash out, we will send out all of that information to you. What time the meet starts, what time the warm-up is, and just to explain that, you notice there were 2 sessions in our meet. And the first session had a nice hard firm starting time of 7:30 warm-up, 8:30 start. And the second one had something that was just relative. When the other session ends, this one will start, basically. After all the meet entries are in, we're able to calculate what that starting time will be. And that'll be another piece of the information that we give you through the E-Splash. There'll be a lot of links in that E-Splash with that information on it to help you know what you need to do at the meet. Just a couple other things. So you'll check the e-splash for specific information just before the meet. Heat sheets, and that's the meet program. And if you've been in our Phoenix meets, you know what those look like. Um, those often are linked, and they're linked in advance, and then sometimes they are sold at the facility. Whichever way, you'll want to get one of those when you go to the meet. There's a nice little grid process that here's what I'm sorry, here we go. Here's what a heat sheet kind of looks like and the information that's in it. And at some point, sometimes you can do this before the meet if the heat sheets are early. You can make this little grid on your child's arm or hand. And if they have that information, then during the meet, they're going to be able to get to the right place at the right time. So for example, in this case, this is event number 37, and the swimmer we're looking at is this Hannah Kabush. And so it's event number 37. She's in the first of 11 heats. So now that she'll know that, and anybody that's helping her will know that. And then she's going to race in lane 6, and she's going to swim the 50-yard backstroke. Good to have all of that information on there. That's for them, and it also will help any adult that's helping them get to the right place. All this information is in the heat sheet that you'll either get prior to the meet or at the meet. As far as the meet goes, the day of the meet, we'll give you a warm-up time. Please have them there 10 to 15 minutes before the warm-up so that they are ready to actually hop in the water at the start of warm-up. We usually have an assigned warm-up time and an assigned lane, which means if they miss that window, they won't be able to warm up. And it's a very important part of the meet is for the kids to get there, get comfortable with the pool, and do some warm-up and get their bodies ready to race. After the warm-up, the kids will there'll be a team meeting. We'll go over any of the details they need to know for the meet. One thing that they'll find out at the team meeting is if they're assigned to any relays. When you make your meet entry, you won't be entering your swimmer in any relays. You'll just be entering in individual events. The coaches will enter relays based on the number of swimmers we have at the meet and how many relays we can enter. Relays are generally 4 athletes. So basically multiples of 4. If there's 12 kids at the meet, we'll have 3 relays. If there's 14, we'll have 3 relays and 2 swimmers won't be able to be on them. But those relay assignments will be announced then. And they will probably want to come and tell you about it. And a lot of them like to write it down on their hand as well. So we don't do that in advance just because sometimes kids are absent and we have to make the relays match what we have there. So after the warm up, they'll go to that team meeting. They'll have some amount of time probably before their first event. We do like to have the kids stay in the team area throughout the meet. They're welcome to go and visit you in the stands or meet you at the concession stand or something like that. But we prefer that they're in the team area with the other kids as much as possible. We want that socialization. It's also easier for the coaches to get to them if we need to. So when to race, where to race. If you've been a part of our Phoenix conference meets, you have a little bit of idea of how a meet works. If you haven't, then it'll be brand new and that's fine as well. But yeah, make sure they have that heat sheet and that event grid. They'll hang out with the coach in the area. Sometimes for 8 and unders, they'll have a clerk of course, which is an area where you'll send the kids and then they'll be escorted to the block. But generally, swimmers are responsible for being behind the block to swim their race when that race starts. And they'll learn how to do that. There might be some failures early on, but generally they learn how to do it and they get there and they're able to race. So the way the kind of the process works for each race is sometime before the race, the coach will either rally some of the kids together that are in that race, or the swimmer should take it on their own initiative to go talk to the coach before the race for some, last minute tips and some encouragement and some sort of a racing plan for that swimmer. Then they'll go behind the block area, and most meets will have a scoreboard where the event and heat will be updated throughout, And once they're behind the blocks, there's some parent timers that can also help them if they have questions. But they'll move forward as each heat in front of them goes until their heat is up. So, for example, if you're in event 37, heat 4, when event 37, heat 3 finishes, you need to step up behind the block and get ready to go. Now, the kids will learn the proper procedure as far as the whistles and when to step up on the block or jump in the water. For backstroke, that's something the coaches will teach them. But then the swimmer will do their race, they'll compete, and then we want them to go right back to the coach after that for kind of a debriefing and a congratulations, a few high fives. If they get a best time button, or if they get a best time, they'll get a little button from the coach. If your swimmer is skipping that, please remind them to do that. It's a really important part of the development that they get some sort of feedback after every race. And then after that debriefing is done, they're free again to hang out with their friends in the team area or come and visit you, and that's fine. And you'll go through that process for each one of your swimmers entered events throughout the meet. Now, when they finish their last event, they are allowed to leave. You don't have to wait till the meet is over. So if they're done and there's still 30 minutes of the meet left, then you can just leave. The only kind of caveat on that is that if there's a relay later in the meet, they need to confirm that they aren't needed for that relay later in the meet before they leave. We don't want someone to leave and then there'd be 3 people expecting to swim a relay with someone, and that 4th person is halfway home in the car. So they should confirm before they leave, and they leave a relay. Meet results, they're posted at the meet. There is an app that you're going to want to get. It's called Meet Mobile. It's, I think, about a $5 a year app. I think you have to repay it every year, I believe. But that almost all meets post their results to that app, which allows you to see what their time is. It also serves as another heat sheet often. That heat and lane will be in there as well. But the time will be in there. The splits of, like each 50 of 100 will be in there. The place that they took. And that's the other thing, our awards. Most teams, unfortunately, bag the awards and give them to the coaches at the end of the meet. And then the coaches will distribute them to the swimmers at the next practice. There are some meets where they make the awards available for the swimmers or parents to pick up throughout the meet. I guess if that's the case, then just make sure that you're aware and you're doing that, because you may not get them otherwise. But generally, awards usually are ribbons or medals or some other item. Another thing regarding results is there are a lot of technical rules in the sport, and swimmers do get disqualified if they break those technical rules. It will happen. I guess from a parent standpoint, downplay it as much as possible. From a coach standpoint, it's a learning opportunity. We're going to teach them what they did wrong, and hope that they can make that correction the next time to not get disqualified. But just so you know, if they get disqualified, there's no awards. The time doesn't count, and they'll just have to try it again next time. Couple other things about meets. I know someone asked, and just the meet length there's a 4-hour session rule in USA Swimming, which means any of those sessions should not last longer than 4 hours. Occasionally they do last a little longer than 4 hours. Generally, they're a little bit shorter than 4 hours. And that's just the competition time. The warm-up time, which is usually 30 minutes to an hour before that, would make the whole commitment for a meet as much as 5 hours. But again, when your swimmer is done with the last event, they'll be able to leave, and you'll be able to take them home. I know that was a lot, and I kind of just bulldozed through it. I can take a few questions here. Let me get rid of the share screen here. Bring me back. And if you have a question, I guess just unmute yourself and speak up. If you also want to just email me a question, that's fine as well. I can answer, I'll get to those tomorrow. It looks like I've got 30 people as far as maybe in the chat. Did anybody put any questions in the chat?
There were, Coach Mark, there were a couple, but I think I've been trying to kind of watch them as they've been coming through as well. So certainly feel free to speak up, but hopefully people have got them done.
I see that Meat Mobile's up to $10, huh?
I'd be remiss if I just didn't say real quickly, welcome to everyone. We're super excited. I'm super biased, but swimming is a really great sport, physically, mentally, socially. It's a really rewarding experience. I'm at Arrowhead all the time. I look forward to meeting all of you. You have questions, tap me on the shoulder, email me. I try to be a parental buffer. I've got a few kids in the program, so I know what you're all kind of digesting at the moment from all this information, but I'm confident that we can work through some of this stuff together, and I look forward to doing that.
So I heard you say before, so it's about 20 hours of volunteer time per family. If we don't do the 20, you're still responsible for the $40 buyouts, or
Well,
how exactly does that work? And then if we have to pay for the relays, also, if we don't know if our kid's going to be in a relay, do we just get billed for it later, or
yeah,
what?
sure. I can answer both those. So first of all the billing for the meet entries are done after the meet. So yes, if we would, like, for example, if a relay is $12, that would just get divided by the 4 swimmers, and each one would pay $3 for that. And you all of the meet fees are assessed after the meet, and they'll be on that monthly invoice. Now, as far as the meet service goes, the 20 hours, I mean, don't live by that. It's 5 sessions. All right. Now, if you don't work, if you opt out of one of those 5 mandatory sessions, those are $100 a piece. So you definitely want to work some of those sessions and not have to pay $500 in buyout fees. And like I said, we help you work through those if you've got a conflict. If you have a vacation that was scheduled or something like that, we help you find a way to meet that requirement as well as possible. For the smaller meets, that's where the 40 or 35 or $40 buyout comes into play. And that's only if your swimmer is in it and you can't work, then you would pay that $40 fee. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
And then you said something, if your kid's in bronze, though, you don't think you'll have that many volunteer hours required quite yet? Or did I mishear
No,
that?
the difference between the bronze and the silver, bronze, and again, these are the 2 separate programs. There's the meet service program, which is what I was just talking about before. But now what you're talking about is the seasonal service program. All right. Now, you paid $50 at the beginning of the season. You needed to earn 15 points. And so for this season, you just earned those 15 points by attending this meeting. So you'll get your $50 deposit back right away. Next season, you'll have to go in and click something and either choose some level of donation. Sometimes it's just, 2 cases of water for a swim meet or something like that, or make a couple salads, something like that for the coaches to eat. But there'll be some task that you'll do to earn those 15 points. All right. Thanks. Anything else? Well, I really appreciate the great turnout, and we're looking forward to having so many new people on the team. I will, any questions, go ahead and send me an email, and I will answer any questions in the next day. So appreciate it. I guess that takes care of the meeting. I stop the recording.
I just happened to notice, and I'm trying to be probably overly helpful. Somebody just asked if parents have to attend the meets, and people watching, if you swipe all the way to the left, you'll get a tap to speak option, and you can untap when done speaking, and it'll remute you. So if you want to say something, you can speak up.
Mark, there was one question from a parent about paying to attend a meeting, and the answer is typically the team who's hosting the meet will have a small entry fee. You walk through the door. It might be $5. It might be $6. It just depends. You certainly don't have to attend the meets. I like to, but yes, there usually is a small fee to walk through those doors as a parent. Hopefully that helps.
Thanks. All right, well, I'll let you all go. Have a nice evening.